Okay, so we have this Trane product, and I don't know what the unit number is, serial number. Everybody wants to know the serial number. There it is. So I don't really know if that's just the housing for the mixer or whatnot. This is your furnace, and then, oh, that's actually the evaporator for the AC. You can see the drain lines there. And then, of course, your inlets here for your refrigerant. This is the computer, and this model number happens to be that CNT 07940. And this happens to be a generic unit that is very hard to find. Apparently this unit is fairly old, so they don't make that anymore. There's an upgrade to it, although you might be able to find it. It's going to take about a week for it to come in, and that makes sense. Looks like revised in 2001 maybe, if that's what that means. So it's an older unit. I don't see any years on it. It doesn't really matter. The point of this is that we're looking at this device here. This is just a generic universal unit. It does come with the igniter switch. Yeah, so it tells you all the stuff it does. You can pause and check it out if you like. One thing that does talk about this is a Trane unit. So down here it just tells you that for some Trane units you're going to have to splice the wires. You can pause it and read it as you need to. But actually what I'm doing is I just happen to have this device right here that I can put that slip in there and tug on it. Maybe I can do it. Let's see if you can watch me here. There we go. So this happens to be one of those keys for swapping out your keys on the quick lock devices. And it's 50% chance of getting this correct, but I'll show you here how to figure out which one it is that you put that in and slide it out. So you can see that there's a little bit of a tab here. This is where the initial hole is. There's a second hole right here in the middle, and there's another hole right here. So this side of each of those holes, there's a little like finger or a tab there. And so what happens is there's a little, can't really see it, but there's a tab that sticks out just like this on each of these. So the goal is simply just to push that in, and once it's pushed in you can pull it out, and that's what I did. So if you read that paper that I just showed you that has all the verbiage on it, you'll see that it actually says that all these wires are interconnected. So you can see where it says line, transformer line, and circ H. They'll have line H, transformer H, and whatnot. There it is. Okay, so this thing just tells you it doesn't matter how they go for the neutrals and the hot lines. They're all bound together, so it doesn't matter how they go. Yeah, all these are neutrals, so again, it doesn't matter how they go. They're all touching each other. So if you were to test it from here down to here, they're all just one giant piece of metal per se. And the same thing goes up here. So this actually happened to slide right in to those three. They're close enough that they slide right in. And so I can just leave that adapter on there. For now, I'm going to leave this here. There's no real risk of it causing any damage there. And it looks like that's all that I need to connect off of this. The only other thing is our power switch that gets connected up there to this component. This thing doesn't happens not to have a switch. So most switches, it has a switch such that when you take this panel off, it turns it on and off so that you can't accidentally leave this on and cause problems. This switch, it doesn't have that, so we're going to leave it as is. Also, we have our thermostat wires here, and so after you do it long enough, you'll just kind of remember what they are. The red is your power wire, and that's the wire that comes off of your transformer. This blue wire I always thought was a powered wire, meaning this transformer is supposed to give you 24 volts. You can see it there right here in the bottom, 24 volts. And so that's what the red wire gives you. This black one gives you a hot wire or a live wire or a power wire. That's 120 plus or minus alternating currents, plus or minus. And this is your neutral or your ground or your earth, the white one is. So these technically are just coming out from here. They make contact at some point. Now it does have an interruption point, like I said, that switch there. So if that switch is not there, everything is powered off. so there's no power come to it, which is the same as turning off that thing. But you can see this is off. There's no power going to any of this. Once that switch over there is open and that's connected up there, then we do have power to all these hot lines. So again, the book says that it doesn't matter where we put them, they all make contact with each other. And so once there's power going in, there'll be power being distributed as well for your hots. And then all your neutrals or your whites or your grounds or your earth always have all sorts of silly names. So let's plug those in, and then we'll set up our AC lines that go to our thermostat in that configuration there, with the red on the right, yellow, white, the common, we don't have a common, and we have a green, and a Y1, and actually shoot, blue. Okay, blue is the common. See, blue is common. White, red, green, blue. Blue is also / common, and then Y1. There we go. And they match there, so you can pause it if you need to, so you can see what your colors are. And we're not going to do anything with these buttons here. We'll leave it all alone, and we'll just see how we go. All right, thanks for watching. Bye. Oh yeah, so this is pretty obvious because there's a shallow backboard, a little backboard shallow, and also this only has so many pins. This one has extra pins on it. And this is the one that happens to be like a tall backboard. And I don't know if you can see it there at that angle, but there's two sets of those little ones, and that's like a shallow backboard. So it only goes in one way in this case, and again, this is a Trane. All right, let's continue.